listen.
Never in my life associated the word boring with baseball.
We know what's up.
Me? Yeah. Famous? Yeah.
And I'm like giddy over there smiling like, we're about to win this shit.
Did everyone give you crap? Give me a good host story.
I'm not picking it up.
We both love the game.
We talk about it every day.
Get on baseball.
Having some popcorn, you're fooling around your phone.
I'd have to wait in line for 3 hours.
Hang on, because it's about to be a wild ride.
All right, there's no human being I'd rather be talking to right now than Courtney Finnicum. Right?
Yeah, I mean, Rob, I have a lot to say. This is my baseball therapy time. And it's been, first of all, it's been too long since I've sat with you. So nice to see your face again.
Yeah, thank you. And excellent job when we are able to track down Johnny Gomes. Excellent job with Pitch and Moan. I love those. I love those because it's just two people who love the great game of baseball who just let it fly. So there you go.
And that's really what we do. And that's what I do best. That's what he does best. So Pitch and Moan has been fun, but I have seen a lot of his face and not enough of your face. So it's a pleasure to be, I guess, pitching and moaning with you about the Sox. So that's kind of exciting.
Again, if I had a nickel for every time someone said that, I would have less than a nickel. So thank you. Thank you for that. But here it is, Courtney. Ready? You ready?
I'm ready.
3, 2, 1. The White Sox. Oh.
I mean, Rob, where do I even begin?
Well, before you begin, let me set the scene. The White Sox are the worst team in baseball. Correct?
And it's not even close. It's not even close.
Well, so here it is. I broke down the numbers. This is the only research I did because I know that you just would have things to say. They're after losing 3 or 4, the after splitting with the Red Sox in a 4-game series. That was after losing 14 straight. They are now 17-49. They are 26 games back, 17 and a half games back in the wild card. So not mathematically eliminated. So who knows? Maybe this. Go ahead.
It's that Dumb and Dumber quote. Are you saying there's a chance?
There's a chance. This is the motivating factor. We'll remember this podcast as the T-shirt cannon that shot them into playoff contention. They are negative 144 in run differential. All right, so that's the White Sox. The other two candidates for worst team in baseball, the Rockies. They're 23-42, so they would be 6.5 games up on the White Sox. Negative 102 run differential, so 42 runs difference. The next would be the Marlins, 22-43, negative 98. So as you astutely said, not really close.
Not even close.
No.
Not even close. And I have to say, Rob, I was in Denver last week. And, I love going to Coors Field. That is one of my favorite ballparks to go to. And I went to a Rockies game and they were playing the Guardians. So, AL Central opponent, always love that. And, you got Bud Black in the dugout, who is a hell of a manager. And seeing the Rockies play baseball compared to seeing the White Sox play baseball, it's night and day. The Rockies and their fans, they have their own issues with their ownership and they have every right to be as upset as we do. They have their own stuff going on. But that team actually does play hard. It is a complete 180 to how the White Sox play and how Pedro Grifol prepares the Sox to play compared to Bud Black and the Rockies. It's totally different.
Well, okay. So when it comes to the White Sox, I don't even know where to start, Courtney. It's one of these things where I think that why people would say the White Sox, oh, well, why are you talking about the White Sox? This is why we should talk about the White Sox. This is why I'm so glad you are embedded with the White Sox. And this is why I'm so glad that last year I got integrated into the world of the White Sox, because if you wanted to talk, there's plenty of teams at 500. There's plenty of teams sort of in the middle of the pack. we like extremes. Like
We do.
This is extreme. This is extreme agony when the two top candidates for the All-Star voting for your team is a guy who's hitting 071 in Martin Maldonado, and the milkshake that you
The campfire milkshake.
Yes. What is it called? What kind of milkshake?
The campfire milkshake. And listen, MLB has an opportunity to do the funniest thing. They should not have anyone from the White Sox be an all-star and literally have the campfire milkshake in Texas, standing in line to get introduced. Someone should be holding a campfire milkshake, calling it. Fly me out to Arlington. It's in Arlington, right?
Yes.
Fly me out to Arlington. I'll wear my good-looking new Baseball Isn't Boring black and white t-shirt. I will hold up the campfire milkshake, and that will be the White Sox all-star representative, because that's the only one that deserves it at this point.
I like this. Courtney running out to the foul line, wearing the Baseball Isn't Boring shirt, holding the campfire milkshake.
Done and done. I think that would get a hell of an ovation as well.
Let it be said, let it be done.
It's what we say.
Yes. So I like that. By the way, have you had the aforementioned campfire milkshake?
So I finally did. I finally had at my last game.
Which by the way, is important because of the many hats you wear for the Baseball Isn't Boring brand. One of them is our fan correspondent, our
Correct.
ballpark correspondent, which we haven't even done a review of Coors Field, or we're way behind in that respect. But that's not what we're here for. But you did do the campfire milkshake, you said.
I finally did do it, and I have to say it's good. Now I'm an ice cream connoisseur, so I have pretty high standards when it comes to my ice cream. And it was just fine. I wouldn't go nuts over it. It's very sweet. You have to really be in the mood for such an adventure.
Did you finish it?
I did not finish it. No. I know. And my priorities at the games, me, Rob, I like my margaritas. I like my wines. I like my beer. So that's usually my priority, especially these days watching Sox baseball. I'd rather have alcohol than a milkshake. You know what I mean?
That clip will be cut and put on social media.
It needs to be.
It needs to be. So along those lines, before we get to the White Sox, have you partaking in any unique alcoholic beverages of late?
Not yet, but
Okay.
This will be a separate podcast because I am planning a trip to Petco finally in San Diego this summer.
They are, I think that of the places that I've been, the choices, in the stands at the ballpark, there are more places to eat and drink than any other place, I think.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah, and you know what I love the Dodger Stadium, but not a lot of choices, not a lot of things, older. Anyway, we're good. Let me know when that when is that? When is it?
I'm planning either July or August. I have not officially made it yet, but it's coming up soon, so we'll have to stay tuned, basically.
You can go straight from Arlington to San Diego. There you go.
That's it. Baseball isn't boring, expensive account for me.
I do want to. I am trying to, Courtney. I am trying to organize a Baseball Isn't Boring event at the All-Star game. I'm trying. So, yeah.
I mean, not just a little sidebar conversation, but I do, travel to Texas for work, so I can make it a work trip and I can make it possible. I could do it.
Can you expense everything for us?
Potentially. Make sure this is cut out first so nobody hears it from my work.
All right. Well, listen, I was speaking of going to places, going to ballparks, you still go to the only disagreement we've ever had, Courtney, is guaranteed rate field being good or bad. You still are saying it's not that bad. I'm saying any place that makes me wait that long for an Uber is not great. So, but that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about the team. You're still going there. You're still taking in the White Sox. It's funny, Courtney, because let's go back to last year, right? We talked about the White Sox last year and how dysfunctional it was. You just hear these stories about how unbelievable dysfunctional it was. So they get rid of Rick Hahn. They had sold off all those pieces at the deadline. They get rid of Rick Hahn. After he does that, you have all these people, you bring it, you're saying, hey, we're taking an enema to the entire clubhouse. We're getting rid of this guy, that guy, this guy. We're bringing in, people forget you brought in like a guy like Mike Moustakas, who was like the supposed to be like
the glue.
A glue. And I was talking to Daniel Bard, and he was like, this guy is the best, right? I'm like, well, good,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
You bring in Martin Maldonado because he's a great game manager, he's a great catcher. You bring in, I don't know, but everyone understood that you had to take an enema to this entire, and I apologize for keep using it, but it's the only way that you could, it's the only analogy that I can give. So it's
Right.
you do this for the White Sox, and then you land there in spring training, and you're like, okay, the division stinks. Maybe.
Is there a possibility? You know, when they made that whole huge announcement last year, and I remember our reaction, you were one of the first people to tell me about Kenny Williams and Rick Hahn being let go. I was very cautious to celebrate because I had heard years ago, we had a podcast about it when this happened. I had heard years ago that Chris Getz was moving up the ranks. And I thought, oh man, it's going to be just like business as usual at 35th and Shields, because they're just going to move Chris Getz up into the GM role. And here we are. They did not, as a reminder, they did not interview one other general manager candidate. They literally, it was a 1 week lull before they announced Chris Getz, and they didn't talk to anybody else. How do you not, first of all, how do you not go out and try to interview these great baseball minds that a lot of organizations have now? There's so much emphasis on the analytics these days, and there's all these young minds in other organizations that are doing well. How could you not at least explore that? Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. So then they, make the big announcement about Chris Getz. He comes out, oh, you know what? This is not a rebuild. This is not a rebuild. And, we plan on competing next year. The AL Central is terrible. Flash forward, AL Central is not terrible, as it turns out. And they're not even close to competing. So basically, he went out there, fed the White Sox fans a bunch of BS, which is what the White Sox way. And here we are in no man's land with a lame duck manager.
So, simple question, Courtney. Give me some places where they went wrong. And you just mentioned Getz, fine. I mean, okay, Getz he's the guy making the decisions. All right, it's your team. They makes the moves, but heading into this year, in retrospect, where did they go wrong in not becoming that team that was going to be maybe the sneaky contender in the American League Central to this dumpster fire?
So I think there's been a couple of things in season that has happened that White Sox fans are losing their minds over. Pedro's handling of a lot of the young players, the rookies, Corey Lee specifically, our catcher, batting, playing Martin Maldonado, who's hitting what he's hitting. You already said it.
Yeah.
He is an immediate out in the lineup. Today against the Red Sox, he was batting with the bases loaded, runners in scoring position twice, struck out once, struck out twice. So this is a problem in itself. Game management, the game management's very poor. You got to pinch hit for Martin Maldonado there. The handling of rookies has been terrible. Up and down, Nick Nastrini, constantly messing with his development. 1 minute he's up, 1 minute he's down, not making a lot of sense. Just an all-around cluelessness of how to develop these young players. And it's very concerning because now we have Drew Thorpe coming up. I'm not sure if you saw that.
Yeah.
He's coming up on Tuesday. He was in Double-A. A lot of people can argue that he's being brought up way too soon, which I would agree with. I'm more concerned about Pedro and the coaching staff getting their hands on a potential good prospect and messing with him in that regard, like they have been. As far as the offseason goes, there's a lot of moves that they could have made that they didn't. There's a lot of veteran arms out there. Michael Wacha, who is doing a hell of a job in Kansas City, would have looked very nice in our rotation. instead of a Mike Clevenger, that would have been nice. There's a lot of moves that they could have made that they just didn't. So that tells me that they were not serious or ever serious about competing in this division.
So you talked a little bit about the pitching, and last year, the White Sox, it was the worst defensive team I've ever seen in my life. It was like, I remember one of the games that I went or actually broadcast, it was Tim Anderson and Elvis Andrews up the middle, and it was like neither one had their gloves broken in. It was nuts, right?
Yep.
And so this was a problem. So you knew that you had a terrible defense. You knew that you had a dysfunctional clubhouse. And you knew you still needed talent at the end of the day. And yeah, you got these players, you got Corey Lee and these other guys, that's fine, but you still need you need players. What did they do? The pitching side, you didn't touch on some of the pitching, but that aside, what are some of the things that they thought that would work and have just like fallen so short?
So I was a huge supporter of what I thought they were going to do defensively this year. Signing Nicky Lopez, not a genuinely sexy move nonetheless, but someone that is an infielder. So that was appealing to me. I was actually really excited for Dominic Fletcher. It was nice to potentially have a young actual right fielder in right field. The Sox haven't had that in years. So I was very excited to have him. I thought those were two potential stopgaps. We have Colson Montgomery coming up eventually, hopefully. So Paul DeYoung being a stopgap was interesting. He has some pop to his bat. And the defense, once again, if you look at the stats, they're worse off than they were last year. How is that possible? So you make these signings, and you can argue of how they've developed Dominic Fletcher too. That's also been very confusing. So it's still a giant hole in right field. Still got Gavin Sheets playing way too much right field. The defense up the middle is still very poor. It just constantly looks like basically the bad news bears every single day on the South Side.
What's it like to be, I guess, like immersed in the worst team in baseball? In your baseball following life, Courtney, you've seen some bad White Sox teams.
I have.
Right.
I have.
But this is why, again, we love that you're there, and this is the team that you're following, and this is awesome because it's such a unique experience to go to a ballpark and see what is happening here. And also because this isn't like the A's, Courtney. The A's have stunk for a while. Like, what you're getting. You knew what you were getting with the A's, right? You're going to get an empty ballpark. It's going to be the CVS that's closing up, and they're not restocking the shelves, and like what you're getting. With the White Sox, the White Sox were in the playoffs like a couple years ago.
And so people, that should not be lost on people. And I have argued this on Twitter. I've argued this on podcasts. This White Sox team should not be this bad. They should not be this bad.
No.
So what is going on that they're this bad? I certainly have my theories. One thing I do want to call out, because this is something that I'm losing my mind over. So amongst many things I'm losing my mind over. I mean, add to the list, Rob, add to the list. But, I look at what a Ronaldo Lopez is doing in Atlanta. I look at what, of all people, Kevin Pillar is doing with the Angels in these last 2 months. Kevin Pillar, it was like me up there when he was with the Sox. He had no shot in hell. And this guy's like hitting 400 in Anaheim. He's had monster hits. Ronaldo Lopez in Atlanta is the best pitcher in the National League right now. Jose Ruiz, who is also with the Sox, is in the Phillies bullpen and has like an ERA in the 2s. And this guy had an ERA in the 7s with us. What happens to players when they leave the Sox, where they just become these absolute stars? I need to know.
There's probably others. I'm trying to think.
There is.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so, but here's the thing. So now it's become, you have these guys. This was one of the reasons why we said, maybe with the White Sox, because there were guys that had talent, right? To your point,
Right.
make the playoffs a couple of years ago. There's still some guys around. Yoan Moncada, disaster. Disaster. I mean, just it's such a shame because I remember covering him when he first came up and just the unbelievable talent. And you saw glimpses of it when he was with the White Sox, right?
Yep, you did. You did.
Yeah, I mean, this guy was going to be the next big thing.
It's first of all, obviously you won that trade, so congrats, Red Sox Nation.
Well,
but yeah, I mean, it's very frustrating because it goes beyond Moncada. I mean, Luis Robert's a freak of nature, right? I mean, this is a guy, easy 40 home run guy, easy 40 home run guy. If he can stay healthy, this guy, every single game, I think there's potential for him to leave with an injury. I'm holding my breath every single time he runs down the line. I mean, this is the White Sox luck. They have a guy who is a stud. Luis Robert is a stud defensively, offensively, and he just can't stay healthy.
I think Courtney, if Luis Robert stayed healthy, I think that he would be a top 10 player in the major leagues.
No doubt.
He's that good. And that, so before you go on, let me ask you that, because he's sort of the fork in the road for the White Sox. You need guys. You need stars. The milkshakes, you can't have milkshakes as your all-stars.
You can't.
No. Even though the walk-in music would be easy because you would bring all my milkshakes to the yard. So
and that would, Rob, we got to get this done somehow. That's marketing 101 right
that
there.
was going to be a surprise. That was going to be a surprise for you when you walked out to the foul line, but
I would have such a reaction to an organic reaction. It would have been great. Would have been great. Great content for us.
Great content. Come on, MLB, let's go. So you can't have milkshakes be your all-stars all the time. You have to have the foundation guys. And so we can't forget, as much as there's frustration for, as we call him, Louis Robert, for Luis Robert, as much frustration is it's hard to find that level of talent. This isn't Moncada. That's come and gone.
It's come and gone.
There's still potential for this level of talent. So before anybody says, "Oh, we'll trade him because I've just had enough," well, understand you're trading him to find the next Luis Robert, right?
That's correct. Yep.
So I don't know where you stand on holding on to Luis Robert or not.
I go back and forth on it. I am in such a roller coaster relationship with Luis Robert. I really am, because there's a part of me that's like, just what you said. You're trading him to find the next Luis Robert. Well, you have Luis Robert. You actually have him. It's like, that saying, we have dinner at home. You have Luis Robert at home, right? So we have that already. And it's frustrating though, because he's had one healthy year, and it was a monster year. But one healthy year. So do you hold on for the rest of his contract and hope that he can turn it on and stay healthy and, maybe build around him? That AA Birmingham team has potential. I am very cautious when I say it because prospects are just prospects at the end of the day, but there's potential there. Do you hold on to him, or do you try to get 2 Luis Roberts and maybe a few pitchers and hope for the best?
That's the thing, Courtney, is that because of his contract, you could potentially get a lot for him, a ton.
You could. I know.
But you also, as we found out, and potentially with what they did you better nail that trade. You better, the Washington Nationals did a great job with Juan Soto. We just did a interview with James Wood, who, oh my goodness, Courtney, this guy is going to be 6'7". It's going to be so good. And that's not even including CJ Abrams, who they got. That's not even including Mackenzie Gore, who they got. They nailed that trade. You got to nail the Luis Robert trade. And I don't know.
And how often do those trades really work out? I mean, not to rub salt in the wound, but look at Mookie Betts. The Mookie Betts.
Oh, yeah. But here's the difference, though, is that with Mookie, his contract was up, right? They knew it. Luis Robert, his contract's insanely good, right?
It is. It is. So it's tough, because do I trust the White Sox to make the right moves, though? Do I trust them to actually pull the trigger the right way with Luis Robert, history is against them, unfortunately. You can make an argument about what they got for Dylan Cease. Drew Thorpe is one of those guys. God willing, he works out. I don't know. I don't know. So Dylan Cease is a bona fide stud. He's a bona fide stud. So you hope, like you said, there has to be a strong trade in place for this to happen. Same with Garrett Crochet. Now,
don't trade him.
I
Don't
agree.
trade him.
I am a lot less hesitant to trade Garrett Crochet because you got to have a pitcher. You got to have someone to build around the pitching staff once these guys finally are ready to come up from Birmingham.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't, because what you're trading Garrett Crochet for is trying to find the next Garrett Crochet.
That's it. That's it. And, the Sox don't have, like I said, Sox don't have luck trading these stud pitchers for anything decent. So got to keep Crochet, Robert, I am, like I said, roller coaster relationship with him. I don't know what to do with him. At the end of the day, I don't know.
How about Eloy Jimenez?
Oh, I would have traded him in the offseason. I would have traded him 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another guy. I mean, not to the level of Robert, but like still another guy. You're like, oh, he's shown flashes, and it's just, I think that what you have to do, it's like they had the first wave of the enema of the whole clubhouse, whatever.
Yeah.
You just have to turn over everything. You have to turn over everything. You can't keep hoping. You can't keep hoping for better things. I don't know. Sorry, Courtney. You can't keep hoping for better things.
I mean, that's such a negative quote, Rob. I mean, Courtney, you can't keep hoping for better things.
Well, no, but it's what is the line, Courtney? It's insanity. When the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results.
That's it. And it's the truth. And this is, I am in an insane relationship with the White Sox. It has to stop. It needs to end.
But here's the good part. When you go to the games, how many games have you been to this year?
Not including the road games that I'm planning on going to. I've been to 4 this year.
Okay. When you go to the games, you can sit wherever you want.
Easy ticket.
What do you do? I always like the Courtney protocol at ballparks. When you buy the ticket, right?
Buy the ticket. Yep.
You go by yourself sometimes?
Depends on who I have. Yeah.
Let's say you go by yourself. You buy the ticket. Do you buy the bad ticket, the cheaper ticket, knowing that you're going to sit in a better seat?
I have contemplated this, but to me, I'm probably just way too of an honest person where I actually maybe want to give a little bit more money to the crap team in hopes that maybe Jerry would spend my extra dollar I spend on a decent ticket. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a sucker.
That is the most warped view of the finances of a baseball team that I've ever heard. So basically, but this is what I love about it, Courtney, is that instead of buying the cheapest ticket and getting to the better seat and then booing the crap out of the team, you're buying the expensive seat, hoping that your money is going to go to get the team better and saying, hey, I paid good money for this ticket. Be better.
I mean, instead of boycotting the games, we should all spend money on good seats and then enjoy my bar bill, Jerry. Enjoy the margaritas and the wines. I mean, come on. There's money to sign better players strictly from me alone.
Listen, you got to spend money to make money. Right?
Always. And it's the truth. It is the truth when I say you get what you pay for. And this team is what you pay for. And that's why they're in the position they're in right now. When you go cheap, this is what it looks like. Inside the mind of Courtney in terms of this is why you through the thousands of applicants we had to be our ballpark correspondent is next level. Because of my mind. I mean,
it's like between the acceptance of partaking in different alcohol concoctions at ballparks or milkshakes and then having this weird view of I'm going to pay extra money because it's going to make the team better.
I mean, I'm hoping that when the Sox finally sign a big free agent, which will be well after Jerry's no longer with us and won't be Andrew Benintendi anymore, I can sit there and say, you know what, my money finally went to something. Years later, but it finally worked.
You will get a seat on the I don't even know what they do for the parade. When the White Sox had the parade in 2005. Did you go?
Yes, I was there.
Did you go?
I was there. I
Okay.
took off. I was a junior in high school and I took off school and it was a phenomenal memory. The city of Chicago that day was really special to be a part of it. I mean, we're such a crazy sports town here, and yet we have such bad sports teams and bad organizations. And luckily, some of the teams are coming around. The Bears are coming around, hopefully the Hawks. But, we don't get enough championships in this town. And when we do, we embrace them and embrace them really nicely. And that was a really special moment.
I think so. First of all, what do they do? Do they do buses? What do they do for the parade?
They did buses. Yes, they did buses.
Okay.
Yeah.
We let it be said, let it be done. Since you have invested so much effort, time, and money, you are guaranteed a seat. If the White Sox really, really care, they will right now guarantee you a seat on the bus for the championship parade, whenever that is.
If they were smart, that's exactly what they should be planning right now. That's correct.
So there's two things that when you woke up this morning that you didn't know that you were going to be able to do in your life, which is number one, represent the Chicago White Sox at the All-Star game by holding a milkshake, and then also guarantee a bus ride along the street. They don't go in the river. They don't do the river. They should do the river.
They did an actual path. It was around Grant Park, and it's the way they did it. This is a long time ago already, unfortunately, but they had a path, through the loop.
They should do the river.
I don't know why they didn't do the river. They should have boats on the river.
You line the people on the river, right?
Yes, and they should have boats like Boston. Boston had a big.
They did the river. Now the players almost died and fell off the boat, but it's worth the risk. And
it's all part of it.
Tampa Bay. They had the Brady.
Right. Yes.
The very inebriated Brady throwing the trophy almost into the ocean.
Yeah, I would be Tom Brady at the White Sox parade if they ever win again. So just be aware of that. That'll also be very good content for us. I will be the female Tom Brady that particular day. It'll be great.
All right. So that's something to look forward to. In synopsis, if for White Sox fans, just be patient because the payoff is Courtney Finnicum being the female Tom Brady at the championship parade.
That's it. Nailed it.
Nailed it. All right, Courtney, last question, because we love our wasabi hot cloud storage, wasabi technologies. The wasabi hot or not question, hot or not? No, hot, we say going to movies by yourself, hot or not?
Hot. To me, Rob, anything by yourself is hot. Going to dinner by yourself, going to a baseball game by yourself. I think there's strength in doing that. I do it all the time. I do it on the road all the time, obviously. I do it home in Chicago all the time. You got to do things by yourself. You can't keep waiting for others to step up for you. So hot.
It's a very polarizing issue. It's remarkably polarizing.
Some
people are like, I can't fathom that you do that. So
I mean, I feel like it's more of a woman thing too, where they're like, I don't know how you can sit at a bar by yourself and order food, and I'm like, oh God, it's like one of my favorite things. Yeah. So there's strength. I feel like you're a strong person if you can do that.
Okay, we're gonna knock two out in one podcast. Ready? Because this is the next one we're gonna do. Wasabi hot cloud storage, hot or not? Summer Olympics is better than the Winter Olympics, hot or not?
Ooh, I think I would go hot on that.
Okay, it's a tough one.
It is tough. I had to really think about that, but I'm going to go.
Because we got to start thinking about this.
We do, because it's coming.
Yeah. So why is that? Because the first thing you do is you think about sports. Which sports do I like to watch, right?
Exactly.
Do I like the biathlon? Do I like the cross country skiing with a shotgun? Or do I like the ping pong? It's
And honestly, I am mixed on that too, because I'm a big fan of the curling.
Mm,
I'm a big curling. So there's a bar in Chicago in the winter that has rooftop curling. And I've done it.
Did you?
And
With the
it's
brooms?
it's the brooms. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So honestly, I might change my answer and I might go not, because the curling might knock it out of the park for me. I don't know.
Okay, so you don't. Should I loop back with you on this?
Loop back with me on this, but the curling might just do it for me.
All
I
right,
don't know. We'll see.
workshop. Have you ever gone axe throwing in a bar?
I have not done that yet. No,
All right.
I have not. Have you?
No, it doesn't seem like a logical thing to do.
Likewise, and that's kind of my thought process.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, we solved a lot of the world's problems. Courtney, do you feel better?
Oh, Rob, we did solve a lot of the world's problems. This was as always, very therapeutic for me. So White Sox Therapy 101, always appreciated.
Okay. And I look forward to your next Pitch and Moan podcast with Johnny Gomes. I saw Johnny, he grounded out to second base, the Savannah Bananas, but great move. Like after he crossed first base, turned to the crowd and gave a bow. It was a great night. It was my first Savannah Bananas experience. So good times.
I mean, is Johnny Gomes not the best Savannah Banana player ever? I mean, he's perfect for that team.
No, he's great. And he also made history. The Baseballs Are Boring radio show called in during batting practice from left field. So
that's why we love Johnny. That's why we love him.
All right, Courtney. Thank you.
Thank you, Rob.